To go to other story, OSI, the Sierra Leone Social Workers Steering Committee, they join other social workers around the world for them will celebrate Social Work Day 2023. But inside Salone, we will look inside one national social work conference where they send for use for mark this day also. Well, for talk more about this, we do with the coordinator, we in him now Michael Conteh Esquire. We himself don't go through the social work ladder, and now a lawyer and a coordinator. Yes, and good morning.
Good morning, presenters, and good morning.
A long time. Don't say,
we are friends, and I'm back.
Okay. So now tell you about this. This is the relevance of the day also.
So I am sure because social work is a relatively new concept in Sierra Leone, people want to know why social work. To a very large extent, almost everything we do. Now in daily lives, if we get the proper structure within state, there is high possibility that we need intervention of social work, because social workers supposed to promote social change, development, cohesion, development of people and communities. So sometimes you are caught up in a situation where during the course of learning, students know even deal within the right frame of mind. But you not even get a confidential or professional person for speak them out. So sometimes I make one of the reasons we get that allegation of a student with commit suicide and principles happen, because you not even get somebody for talk to. If we had that structure, a social worker was supposed to have been within the school system where if I feel confident and say I have somebody who I can talk to on confidential basis, and the person therefore get counseling. That's the role of a social worker. Somebody wants to know why there is this allegation of a student killing the teacher at Providence. That's an allegation. For the lawyer, go look into the facts of the matter. The social worker looks beyond the facts of the matter. Because if you don't want to look beyond the facts of the matter, you get to be caught up in the situation, so therefore repeatedly they happen. Why this happened? Now the question and with the social worker they ask. So talk about women's development, that's gender rights issues, street children or child protection. The social worker is supposed to be involved in preventing them. So the work of the social worker is a broad spectrum work. Within the healthcare system, whilst the doctors they deal with the physical health, the social worker is supposed to deal with the psychosocial health. So because of something within the environment where they even get calls for it make you sick, the social worker is supposed to be within the health sector. So right across the different areas of a society, including the media practitioner area, the kind of money you don't even know sometimes, you don't even get better theory left for you picking on a host. You will be stressed out sometimes now the guest you can put you a mat. But if you get a social worker within your office where you will talk with, will probably counsel you how you forgo about the day and how you will get solution to those problems. So that's the importance of social work.
Yeah, now that you don't explain the importance of on your work, but again, how on yourself don't they do some of them services there to the public? Again, how important, but again, how on yourself don't they contribute? Because by your explanation, people like say some of them are really lacking in all facets of society.
So that's why we think there is an importance for us to have a structure within or supported by the state, then also the profession will thrive easily. Because I didn't have the media, I therefore try to do a comparative analysis between what's supposed to happen with social work and what's happening in the media. You get media practitioners, you are members of the Sierra Leone Association of Journalists, but you are being regulated by the Independent Media Commission, right? We do not have that structure in Sierra Leone for social workers because it's a relatively new profession. You want to put under reading. So that's why the Sierra Leone Social Workers Steering Committee is coming up with the key objectives for CC. We bring current practitioners together, educators together, students together, and social welfare agencies collaborating with the Ministry of Social Welfare, which is the supervisory ministry for social work in Sierra Leone. But let we get this national social work conference. Let us go discuss how are we going to set up a structure where you have the welfare institution, the welfare focused organization, which is the association. Then also more importantly, we start to get discussions around the regulation of the profession, because we do not want to talk about your personal things to a social worker and the person go and expose them, and there is no way you can hold that person to account. So we are taking a two-pronged approach in ensuring that we get an expected outcome of this particular conference. So we slate them for making meet up around the time the world they celebrate the World Social Work Day. The World Social Work Month is March every year, but the day is celebrated on the third Tuesday of March, which is globally. So this is going to be on the 21st of March this year. So we're having a 2-day conference where we have to have conversations.
That's how they talk, sir.
Most time we get conversation around establishment of the association. We get conversation around the major social issues around Conteh. Somebody tell me, say, one of the major issues now about drug abuse currently, so much of crucial and the need for us to have clinical social workers tell you, say, very important there. Because whilst you're looking into the intake of drugs, say for instance, why somebody would choose for spend 20,000 for take kush instead of you go take 15,000 for buying cookery, you want to know the reason, not only about the intake of the drug. Why the person decide for take that alternatively, though it more expensive. If the social work structure was there would have been a reason for let get the social workers intervene into that, whether it's through direct intervention or prevention mechanism being proposed to the state. So all of them things we'll go talk about. Then we'll get an opportunity for us to start to talk about regulating the profession. Not only about forming ourselves into association, we want to be held to account. And because we want to be held to account, we want to get conversation around having possibly a bill where they talk about the regulation of social work profession. So when the social worker crosses the line as a professional, somebody or an institution is there that is supposed to regulate and ask questions, and you're always going to have an opportunity for possibly you complain it crossed the line.
Okay, one thing we're very challenging about the issue of privacy. This country, the issue of privacy is now challenging all institutions that provide services to the public. Now, be it hospital or you go to a different side. The mere fact you don't turn it back maybe as a patient, the next thing something that nurse or somebody we don't take care of, you go tell the next person, that person we see go, so you just can't. So again, we don't work on ourselves when I get an issue of secrecy, because somebody will tell you about some problem. You don't go scatter and fire, you don't worsen the situation, and issues of privacy are a challenge.
Yeah, I concede say within country level we get issues of confidentiality. We not see what they exist to a very large extent, possibly not because of the country makeup. But that's exactly the reason why we call say why should they ask for an association? We are also going to ask for let we get regulatory body. As you mentioned earlier, I'm also a lawyer, so I am aware of within the structure where you breach lawyer-client privilege. Understand? Why you get this member association, you look into the welfare of the practitioners. You also get the general legal counsel, who is supposed to regulate the profession of law. So similarly, you want to forget as a profession in social work, you want to get situations aside from the fact that you get an organization where they look into the welfare, you want to get a regulatory body where if you breach the confidentiality as you mentioned, this organization for being decide who side the possible with them cross in line for go lay complaint and say I'm not comfortable with this, and then an inquiry will be done into it. Whether the inquiry will be done into it, then you say okay, now this regulatory body is going to give a fair opportunity or maybe the social worker and say explain this. If actually it breached the ethical codes and the ethical standards, then actions will be taken against that fact.
Mr. Conteh, although the social work because it's a relatively new we talk about inside salon, but I believe say we not forget a pointer, because I believe say one of the creatures we go through the system for set of students and for a big college, if I can get it right. But we see just after that, don't pass for 5 years, and we see shocks will not happen. We are in the expedition worker for a pivotal role in the area of COVID. Wherein the social worker get a big role for play in terms of educating the community. Talk about in the area of surveillance. Get pointer to that from when I don't come on board say that's not for contribution. This will don't give will know the relevance of the cause.
Let me take to the aspect of the COVID we give as an example. I am aware that there was psychosocial support pillar at the COVID structure. So it tells you, see, there have been involvement of social workers during the course of COVID period. It may not have been comparatively to how it as open as how it happened in other countries, because there has not been this general acceptance of the role of social workers in country. But as surely the state recognizes the importance of social workers. That's why they get a psychosocial pillar. Yes, institution then they really do social welfare work in the country. As much as it will look like for it's fragmented, differences and not seem for be synchronized with a bird's eye view, it is clear as the social work profession is actually doing something in country. But you need a way for you probably get a database of waiting at these actions. So if there was already a database of this action, like where I so I don't give you. But because they are fragmented, you cannot have
the Ministry of Social Welfare, I believe, say they say for take advantage in this area. They're gonna not only the new children's and ministry, and they say a lot of things already happen. We're going to streets, the cat today so na 10 for go school. After 12 you will see picking to water it is sell na market. We will see other things that happen, finger pockets they happen. This all na the challenge we they face in the community. We I believe say one of the role of the social worker.
The fact that we have a Ministry of Social Welfare, I tell you, say at least some side will start from. And in fact, this conference we are collaborating. We have been collaborated with the Ministry of Social Welfare. So let me say, government will get interest into this whole conversation and we will get this conference. Yes, as I said earlier, we may not have had it 100% through, but we gradually the try for each day. In fact, I make want to bring practitioners together. Let me all discuss. You know, for be Michelle sitting at home because they don't be a gallery of social work. Thinks that this is the best way to go. There may be other people who get the ideas for make we push this through, but also we want to be held accountable, because even through the periods of COVID, when you go get social workers, you not get the mechanisms through which you go professionally hold the social worker accountable if it cross the line. Okay. These are the questions we want for answer. Okay. Now make we call on this, we call for this National Social Work Conference.
Okay, I think it's a good starting point though. Michael Michel Conteh, Coordinator Salon Social Worker Steering Committee, then therefore hold a National Social Work Conference. We will start tomorrow. They continue the program.